1970 Chevrolet Chevelle. It's a very nice car, very solid car. I've owned this car in particular probably about 2 years now. Yeah, I think it's been exactly 2 years because right now it is November of 2021 and I bought it in November of 2019. So I've been acquiring parts. And now we are pretty much ready to start the swap. So a little bit more backstory about the car. When I initially bought it, it was a running and driving car. It had a really nice 383 in it. It had a really nice 383 in it with a turbo 400 transmission. And I'm pretty sure it's got a 12-bolt rear. So I sold the engine and transmission to a customer of mine because my intent with the car was always to LS swap it and add vintage air to it. So that engine and transmission is long gone and we have the car. It is not a real SS. It's got the square dash in it, but it does have disc brakes on the front. Like I said, I believe it's got a 12-bolt rear end in it. And we have been acquiring parts. In the trunk, here are a few of the parts. So this is for phase 2. So we'll get to that after phase 1. So we have some Dakota Digital LED tail lights. We also have a Dakota Digital RTX dash for it. Like I said, we're LS swapping it. So to mount the things in the car, we are going to use a lot of Holley swap components because they work very well. So these are headers. They're the Holley swap, the Hooker Holley swap headers. They are ceramic coated. This box here is for phase 2 as well. So let me pause and let's go over to the engine. So this is the engine for the LS swap. A couple months back, I was able to buy a 2008 Cadillac Escalade that ran and drove. It was just hit in the rear. It had around 220,000 miles on it, but it still rode good. You see we got the square port heads. That's your casting number. And it should say 6.2 back here. Yeah, there's your 6.2. So we bought that Escalade, I believe, for like 2,500 bucks. And like I said, my sole purpose in buying it was for the engine. It ran, it had good oil pressure. I should still have a video of it running. If I have it, I will add it in now. So this is the 2008 Cadillac Escalade that we bought for our 1970 Chevelle LS swap. So I was looking for an Escalade because I wanted a 6.2 and I wanted to have the LS3 style heads. So we're not able to fire it up just by the key alone because all of this wiring down here is damaged. So I'm sure some of that goes to the fuel pump. So what we have to do is we have to give it its own little fuel system here, which will mean that we will spray some brake parts cleaner down the throttle body. And then we will go ahead and turn the key so it runs. All right, Brandon. Let me see and make sure we got a good connection here.
Like a genius, I just remembered, I think I took the PCM loose from here. No, I didn't. What did I take a loose? Took the ground off. That's what's off. Oh, yeah, that's right. Took the ground off. Yeah, so I had my son down here helping me disassemble some of this. I remembered one of the things we took off was this ground. It runs. I already took the converters and everything off of it, and that's a good real life example of how you can see how important grounds are. The thing that led me to remember that is when I went inside, I didn't see the check engine light, so I knew something had to have been unplugged major. That's why I originally thought it was a PCM, but it wasn't. It was that ground that we took off. So we're gonna finish getting this thing out of here. We're not really gonna film that process because that's pretty simple, just getting the engine. This is a BTR camshaft that I bought for this swap. This here would be my first time running a BTR camshaft, and well, we're not gonna pull the whole cam card out, but we will do that later. But this is the camshaft right here. So that's what we're gonna run in it. As well have like some bracketry over here, some ICT bracketry. In this box here is a throttle body because of the style intake that we are gonna run. This is the part number for it. This is what it looks like. So this is what it looks like. You can see this bolts to like a carburetor pad because of the style intake that we are gonna use. So we're waiting on our intake manifold to show up. So once that shows up, we will have another piece of the puzzle.
So like everything you do in life, you need to have a budget if you want to plan to succeed. And our budget for this project, right now we are just going to focus on the parts alone. And our parts budget for this project is $10,000. So we have a $10,000 parts budget, which we hope to cover every part that we will use during this swap. This includes the engine, the transmission, the cooling system, the fuel system. We're gonna put a whole new fuel tank here, even the exhaust. One way we can save a couple bucks is because I bought a 2008 Cadillac Escalade where that engine came from. I paid $2,500 for it, and I was able to sell off a lot of the components after I got the engine pulled out, as well as the shell of the truck. So right now, I essentially have a free engine. So our engine is free to us because we sold a lot of parts off of the truck. So that is a real good starting point. But we still have lots of other components to buy. I know a lot of people will say, hey, I could do a whole LS swap, including labor and everything, for less than 10 grand. And that's fine and good for you. But as you see the components that we will continually use, you will see this money just get eaten away. And all you will have is a running and driving Chevelle. So remember, we're doing an aluminum block LS swap, new transmission, Holley engine management, new cylinder heads, aftermarket camshaft, vintage air. We're trying to wrap all of that up in a $10,000 parts budget. So please come along with us for the ride, and remember to continually comment, like, and subscribe. White One Auto, out.